All right, has anyone noticed this trend among some of our government experts lately? It starts off with them telling you a thing. If you question the thing, you will be mocked, ridiculed, and potentially censored. It then turns out later that the thing that they told you wasn't quite as true as they promised you it would be. And when you point this out, they revert to telling you that, well, they never told you the thing that they told you. And then when you show them incontrovertible proof that they did in fact tell you the thing that they told you, they just suggest that you should be mocked, ridiculed, and potentially censored. I can't imagine why we don't trust these guys.
If you're so confused and disoriented that you don't know where you are or where you're going, there are predators of the spirit who are much worse than snakes that are waiting in wait for you. And the probability that you'll move from aimless, hopeless, joyless anxiety to nihilism, corrosive bitterness, and genocidal fantasy in the fundamental extreme is very high. And so that's possession by a predator of the spirit in the desert of the soul. And that's real.
Honey, someone's coming to the house. Someone's coming to the house. What do we do? What do we do? What do we do?
Who are you calling pops? I'm gonna call the pops.
We're recording you.
No. It's okay. I'm just your neighbor. Coming by to say howdy.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah, we're not used to people stopping by to say howdy without assaulting us first, robbing us, or defecating on our lawn.
Sometimes all three.
The trifecta. We're from Los Angeles.
Just moved to Texas.
I figured.
Oh, the California plates?
Well, yeah, and the masks. Inside your own house. No one else around. 2022.
We just want to be extra safe.
We feel naked without masks.
We'll probably wear them for the rest of our lives.
We'll be buried in them.
Okay. Well, you seem like a lovely couple. Like I said, I just wanted to drop by and welcome you to the neighborhood.
Why? Do you want something?
Oh, no. I think he's being friendly. People around here are friendly. Like we've seen in the movies, right?
I thought that was just make-believe, like superheroes or families that go to church.
No. That's a myth. This is real life.
So, I live in that house over yonder. Name's Kevin.
Hi, Kevin. I'm Tiffany, she, her.
And I'm Steve, he, him.
What are your pronouns?
I don't believe in pronouns. I think they're reductive. In fact, just your asking about it is a microaggression.
Oh my gosh, I am so sorry. I didn't mean to.
No, it's okay. I'm just messing with you. I like all pronouns. My favorite is you.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Exactly. So, if you need anything, just holler. My wife and I'd be happy to help.
Baby, he has a gun.
I'm calling the cops.
I'm recording you.
No.
Recording
It's
you.
okay.
Good morning. I'm here to give you an update on the FBI's investigation of Secretary Clinton. What I want to do is tell you what we're recommending. But first, let me tell you what we found. 110 emails in 52 email chains have been determined to contain classified information.
What difference at this point does it make?
8 of those chains are top secret, 36 of those chains secret, and 8 contain confidential information.
What difference at this point does it make?
Everything I did was admitted. There was no law, no regulation.
Secretary Clinton should have known that an unclassified system was no place for that conversation.
I did not email any classified material to anyone on my email.
None of these emails should have been on any kind of unclassified system, not even Gmail.
Well, first of all, nothing was marked classified.
To the contrary,
Nothing was marked classified.
there is evidence.
Nothing was marked classified.
Now let me tell you what we found.
Oh my gosh.
110 emails.
It was not the best choice.
52 email chains.
It was a mistake.
Have been determined to contain classified information.
What difference at this point does it
8
make?
of those chains are top
Wasn't
secret.
the best choice.
6 of those chains
I said
secret.
it was a mistake.
And 8 contain confidential information.
What difference at this point does it
With
make?
respect to our recommendation, this is going to be an unusual statement in at least a couple of ways. Although there is evidence, our judgment is that no reasonable prosecutor would bring such a case. I know there will be intense public debate. I know there will be intense public debate. I know there will be intense public debate. Public debate. What difference at this point does it make? 110 emails.
It wasn't the best choice.
52 email chains.
I made a mistake.
Have been determined to contain classified information.
What difference at this point does it make?
8 of those chains are
It was not a good choice.
6 of those chains
I said it was a mistake.
and 8 contain confidential information.
What difference at this point does it make?
That one friend that always tells you the truth, that never beats around the bush, never walks on eggshells, that hurts your feelings sometimes, he's not the asshole. All your other friends that sit idly by while you destroy yourself and tell you that you're just fine the way you are, they're the assholes. The best friends you can have in the world are the ones that don't care what you want to hear. They only tell you what you need to hear, and they'll keep it 100% real always. The friends that you hate the most in the short term are going to be the ones that you love the most in the long term, because they have your best interest in mind. They want to see you fulfill your potential and be what they know you can be.
Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, Joe Biden has failed the American people. He's failed to uphold his oath of office and preserve and defend the Constitution. From illicit family building, business dealings, and millions of dollars in bribes and payments to himself and to his extended family, Joe and his border czar, Kamala Harris, have allowed an invasion at our southern border, jeopardizing the lives of hundreds of thousands and killing hundreds of thousands with fentanyl. They have directed their border patrol to release illegals into our country unfettered. In fact, the judge even had to intervene and stop Biden's release program. Joe Biden has violated Article 2 of the Constitution to take care and respect the laws of this country. So, Mr. Speaker, that is why I'm introducing articles of impeachment against Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Mr. Speaker, I yield back.
Members are reminded to refrain from engaging.
Hey y'all, how y'all doing today? Trying to see if I can get this camera working. Everybody doing all right? Let's see if it comes on. Yeah, it's a one I So everybody doing all right? I guess I'm not. I thought everything was good. Cam's not wanting to come on. Let me see if I can get it to work now. Well, I don't know what's going on. Showing us working on this end, but not showing us working on the other end. I'll just put this up there. I guess the cam ain't gonna work if it's gonna keep kicking itself off. I don't know how long this will stay. Let's see. Yeah, everything's been acting wonky. Now, Blaine, I didn't hear what's going on. I didn't hear what was going on. I didn't get a message, or I didn't see one. It depends on where you sent it. Hey, Garrett. Hey, Blaine. Hey, Ben. Hey, Gina. Hey, Hick. Hey, Jen. Let's see. Hey, Trillium. Hey, Stan. Hey, Garrett. Hey, Estua. Hey, Mitch. Let's see. Anybody else I miss? Hey, Regina. Hey, Frank. Yeah, Regina, East Texas here, over close to the Louisiana line, I-20. Hold on, I'll look real quick to see what HR 44 is. District of Columbia shall have exclusive jurisdiction over actions arising under the immigration laws and for other purposes. Basically saying, hey, Sharon, basically saying they got full control of everything. Don't matter if a state's borders get crossed. The state's supposed to be in charge of their borders, but I got the link out if anybody's interested. I didn't tell Bonnie or anything. Bonnie was supposed to go up, but I guess she had an emergency. So I'm guessing she's out, but no telling. I wasn't going to bother her with this if she's got family problems. Bonnie, if you're out there, you're welcome to come up. Anybody else is too. Not sure how long the way this wonky thing's acting, but let me see if I can grab that, what it says. The bill was introduced on January 4th, 2021 in a previous session of Congress. Let's talk about it in January. Basically, they saying that they got their dick beaters got precedent over any state line. Hey, Shift. Oh, I'm looking at a different one then. Yeah, the brace and all that other stuff, it doesn't matter. It's not what somebody has. It's not the tool. It's the heart behind it. But it's keeping their nose out of every little thing that they want to be pissy about. Because they get one thing in, they get another thing in. Once you open the door to them touching your rights, like they really exist anymore, but once you open that door, that means they can wiggle and grab and want to wheel and deal on Some bells are best unrung. Hey, D.
What's up?
What are you doing?
I'm in a house full of people. I thought I'd just show you guys some action. Want to see some action?
Yeah, let's see. Is that all your family was coming in?
Yeah, they're all here. Bunch of gray hairs descended on my mountain. They're gambling right now.
You got everybody cooking too?
No, we're all done eating. Well, it's my auntie's birthday tomorrow, but here's some of what's going on.
I smell a poker game. Hey, everybody.
Say hi to my friends in Texas.
What up? Wow, they look big.
I raised $1.
They're fucking crazy. Don't even worry about that. Now there's some more out here. Let me show you. Let's see, I got some more here. They say hi to my friends in Texas.
My friends in Texas.
They're not as rowdy.
Yo.
They're quieter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're chilling.
They're chilling. It's cold. But you want to see some crazy shit? I want to. Oh, am I breaking up? Damn it.
No, you sound fine. It looks pretty chill out there.
Yeah, it's cold. Yeah, Isaiah went home. He's next door. Let me show you this crazy scene in front of my house right now. Okay, there's camper number 1. It's freaking RV city, man. Camper number 2. Hi, Beakers. And then my uncle Teddy has this monstrosity of a camper.
Yeah, D, you cut out. I don't know if you can hear me.
Sorry.
I hear you.
You.
You cutting in and out. Yeah, you're there now.
I can't walk around and show you stuff. I thought I could, but
yeah, you're blanket. You're fine now.
Oh, good. Okay. Anyway, that's my Uncle Teddy's ride there. And
Probably all
welcome to Humboldt County. Hi. What's up? Hello. Yeah, they're waving.
Probably all that metal around you from all them campers would cause some of it too.
Probably what?
All the metal around you from the campers.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, because that happens with the semi trucks too. When they park them, and the metal. Yep. Anyway, we're having a good time, but it's freezing. Ooh, I'm cold. I think the fog is gonna settle down though.
All right, Chip.
See? Looks like it is.
Sounds happy.
Anyway, I just thought I'd check in with you guys and say hi. I saw you were live.
What's the event? Just get together or?
Well, my family's here to see my one uncle. He's on hospice right now. And then my mom's here, so there's, let's see, 2 of her brothers and 2 of her sisters and 2 in-laws. So they're just retired, they're just retired and they've all worked hard all their life. And so they got these RVs a couple years ago and they're just doing their thing, And, they got to see 2 of their relatives here because it's weird because in Humboldt we've got 2 that live here. My uncle lives in Eureka and I live in Arcata, so they're here to see family, But it was sad yesterday because my Uncle Brian, his memory's just gone, and so when I saw them seeing him, my Auntie Joyce was crying, and it was heartbreaking, because they haven't seen him. He's the big brother. He's always been the strong one. He's always been, you know what I mean? He's 83 and he's
the elder.
So that's the occasion. It's not a super great occasion, but it is because that's just life and that's family and you got to do it, right? You know?
He wouldn't want y'all to be sad and upset. He'd want you to talk about the good stuff. So
I know. But my mom's healthy. I mean, her mind is kind of there. She's absent-minded. They're all fucking deaf and their minds are going. You know what I mean? It's like
a lot of us that know things probably wish we could forget a lot of things too.
Yeah, it's hard to see everybody just age like this, because I'm 52 and they're in their 70s and 80s, or these are kind of the younger aunts and uncles. Some of
Yeah.
these are like the twins are here. My grandma had 13 kids and my mom is number 8. And so yeah, I'm just really close to all of them and I'm just glad they're here because I don't get back to the Midwest a lot. I don't get back to Chicago a lot. And
Ask them when you go back in there who's going to make the pierogi.
that'd be my husband. He's the only Polak here. My uncle, the Chinese uncle, I don't know if you could see him, but he was outside. He's always smoking a cigar. He made something called oh shoot, fenshu. No, funshu. Hey, what are those noodles called, Aunt Joyce?
Funsi, but it's the dish is called funsi.
Funsi. We had funsi. It's a glad, yeah. So my uncle made funsi noodles tonight for us, which was awesome. And then we had a tri-tip, and yeah, these are the noodles. He made these funsi. They're mung bean noodles, I guess, right? Mung bean noodles. They kind of remind me of like glass noodles or something. So we all kind of pitched in on dinner, like I made rice and a salad. And we're just doing family stuff, and I thought I'd check in and say hi to you guys because I've been taking a break from streaming and I've been taking a break from my Constitution class and I've been taking a break from the cesspool that YouTube is. But I miss you all so much all the time and I think about you all and I pray for you all and I can't even see chat and I'm sorry about that. I can't see anything. I'm on my phone. But I just want to say hi to Benjamin because he always keeps in touch with me and says hi and I love you, Benjamin. Love you for that. And anybody else? My girls, all the girls I love. Chuck, how's everybody doing in your family? Wyatt and Vicky, good?
I guess already finally got his insurance and stuff supposed to be coming in, and the kidney foundation or kidney whatever people up there got him where he's getting disability and make sure he's got insurance so he can see the doctors. He hadn't been able to go to a doctor. Only one he gets to see is the one that comes into the dialysis place.
Yeah. So, does he need to get a new kidney or anything like that? Is he on the list?
I'm not real sure. That's one of the things possibly, but his number's been staying good. He ate a bunch of crap he shouldn't have here a while last week, and he tested him Monday or Tuesday or Monday. And, so a couple of numbers was a little high, but
yeah. Overall, he's lost a lot of weight, and he's been, flushing his kidneys for what, a year now? Or what?
Six months, 7 months.
6 months? Okay. But still,
Yeah, he's lost over 100 pounds.
Yeah, that's what we were wondering. I was talking with somebody the other day, and we're like, how much weight? 60 pounds? 100 pounds is great. That's great.
Went from 360 to 250 something.
Is it good that he's lost it, or is it because he's sick? I mean, is he mindfully trying?
He's not sick, but he eats. He just doesn't eat a lot of the crap. He don't eat as much when he does eat. He eats a lot of little meals. Like yesterday, he didn't eat but like 2 sandwiches yesterday. So.
Oh yeah, and my husband's doing keto now.
It can be fun.
Hey Siri, is blah 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 keto? I'm like, oh my god, my daughter's making fun too.
He can basically have fish, meat, and eggs is about all he can have.
Well, tonight he ate it all. I mean, he could eat those mung bean noodles. He didn't eat the rice, probably. He can't eat rice.
Say Saturday for a cheat day, or it'll drive him. He'll end up quitting.
He did. Sunday he ate what he wanted. I seen Trump spoke tonight. Did you watch it? Was it any good? Some of my family. No.
I didn't see it.
Yeah. I wanted to stream with my family too. I was talking about some of the issues with my family. Some of them, they think they're not political, but they all got opinions.
Everybody
all got opinions. So I wasn't sure how long they're staying. I don't really know. I think they'll be here tomorrow again. There hasn't been talk of them leaving. So I'm hoping to get to stream with them. And I want to ask my family to just kind of talk to me. And I was thinking about showing them some of the videos. They've been in town today. They were appalled to see some of the things they seen. You know, and I was telling them about some of the shit I've been through in the last couple of years, and you know, and like at that GOP meeting when that guy grabbed my hands, you know. But on the other hand, it's like I don't want to bring it down, like bring them down and bring all that shit up. You know what I mean? But I want to get them onto streaming and try to get them introduced to it so that they can get on again when they go home with me. You know, I think that my Aunt Judy would enjoy it. She's alone a lot. She's a widow, and she's very opinionated, and she loves this country, and you know. She's a straight shooter. I think she'd like our group. I think she'd fit right in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, for sure. All my family would. They're all we don't all agree on the same things. We don't agree on everything. But you know what we do know how to do is love each other. And we do agree on the most important things. So
that's what I tell everybody. I'll support the right of their opinion, even if I don't agree with it.
Yeah.
Don't force your opinion on me.
Come on. No, Toby has to wear a sweater because he's a little dick with company. You gotta wear your little sweater. You gotta wear your little sweater. Yeah, I was just gonna take like a week off, you know, and I was talking to Eric, you know, and I was like, yeah, man, I just can't even right now. I can't, and my family's coming, and I don't want to I just don't even want to be on YouTube, you know. I'm just like, I get so burnt out and beat down in this community, going out and having people call me racist and doing stupid shit and like that, when I'm thinking Arcada's ready for solutions.
I've only been kicking them out maybe once a week.
What?
I've only been putting them out maybe once a week. Everybody keeps asking.
I know. Everyone's been scarce. Everyone's been scarce, right?
He's got new plants out there. I've been trying to get him to go plant them and videotape.
Yeah, I don't want to put my plant.
He'll do it.
I ain't even down with videoing it last year with all the stripes they put in the sky and all the fall down and stuff killing everything off. I'm like, I got stuff growing, but I'm afraid to put it out from under something that's overhead because I'm afraid the dust will fall on it and kill everything out like it did. Them airplanes did a job on plants and trees and grass.
Mm-hmm. In your area, it did this year?
Yeah, all around here. And I guess even as far, Ed got it a lot worse. He said he'd go out there sometimes and look like somebody, it was like gray looking, powder looking stuff, he said. And there's a residue film on everything.
Yeah, his zucchini wouldn't even grow last year. That's bad.
Yeah, you pretty much throw a zucchini seed on the ground and it'll grow.
Exactly. I put all my food in those hoop houses I bought a few years back to grow weed in.
Yeah.
And they get bigger than the hoop houses anyway. So, and I thought I'm going to put my food in it this year. So that's the best thing. You know, they were $300. I bought one year. I bought the other one another year. And, you know, some of them have some torn spots in them, but this year I'm having a garden of all kinds of food. I got beans and peas and cabbages and broccoli planted. And I bought these grow bags for strawberries. I know it's kind of dumb, but they have 10 pockets in them and I can hang them up and they're just plastic. And I just need easy, you know, low maintenance. I don't have time to build any beds this year. But I got one of the...
You go to a feed store, and do you know what sweet feed is for horses? And you know how it comes in those big, like 15-gallon tubs?
I do.
If you can get them, a lot of them, when somebody around there, if anybody uses them up, get them, and they make awesome planters. That's what I use around my porch. I got about 10 or 12 of them. I just need to get some more.
That's a good idea. They're kind of changed. The feed bags I get for the horses are just like plastic, though. They're not that kind of like the chicken ones were, like that burlap kind of stuff.
Yeah, these
I know what you're talking about.
The sweet feed ones, they're like made out of the same thing as 5-gallon buckets. They're just 15-gallon. They're wider and rounder. they come in red or yellow. I don't know if you've seen them before. I might have to show you one to maybe you figure out what it is, but they hold probably 40 pounds of dirt.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good grow bag. I mean, you can put a lot of plants right in the bag of dirt you buy too, if you punch some holes in the bottom of it, if you wanted to really grow a big plant. But
I saw one guy doing that. He'd take a burlap bag, wrap it around the dirt, and then he'd punch holes in it where he wanted it, where it hold some amount of water, and then just plant stuff and set it somewhere.
Yep. I know people get so resourceful and we buy shit. I mean, I've bought so much stuff. I'm like, I hate when I'm buying plastic. I'm like, why am I buying this plastic? I've been watching a lot of aquaponics videos lately.
Yeah.
And I want to get a system set up. I have a little fish pond out in front of my she shed, anyways. And so I've been thinking about just buying another trough thing and a pump and all that. And, oh gosh, what was I saying? I was looking at these videos. I forgot what I was going to tell you about it. Oh, in all these homemade aquaponics systems, every one of them is using in one part of it, right? Some kind of recycled piece of something. I don't care what it is. You know what I mean? The part that goes over the part, where they're about to put the rocks in. So they take like a 1 gallon water jug that's a square water jug, not the kind with a handle at all. And then they just cut the top off and he turns it upside down. It's like, and then another part, they've got some other plastic thing. And, that's the way to be. But I don't always think like that.
We need to in case if they shut everything down, that's what we're going to have to do.
I know it. And some people are just better at that whole. I think I should have took like some kind of building class or, engineering class so I could really understand how things are built better, because it's like all that's so vague to me with a lot of things. It's not connected. So
you go to swap meets and stuff, don't you?
Yeah, sometimes. It's been
see if you can find them Foxfire books. Unless you got them, that'll teach you a lot of stuff.
Foxfire?
Yeah. It's all the homesteading books. It goes anything from quilting to canning to Joe rigging stuff to how to do this, how to do that. People, I'm not. It was put out in '72, so everything's going to be that level of technology. So that would probably make a lot of it a lot simpler to try to figure out how to work on stuff. So,
yeah, I got some storybooks. That couple, I forget their name, John and the wife's name. Story. They do a lot of homesteading books. I got a couple of their books. They're real good.
Hey, Kim.
Somebody better get up here with Chuck, because I'm gonna have to get off here and go hang out with the family. But I thought about trying to stream with some of them, but they got to get into gambling right away. They got to go play poker, and they got their money out and shit. You know what I mean? It's like on. So
yeah, I miss poker games. I remember my dad when I was growing up, teenagers, and even when I'd walk through chasing girls and going out and having a big time, they had poker games on the weekend. I miss that.
Yeah.
Y'all did it when we were little for a while.
Yeah, and most people, when you don't drink anymore, you find out who your friends are when you close the bar.
Oh, sure. When you're broke, when you don't smoke, and when you don't drink, and yeah. Find out real quick. And you're homeless ever, too? Well, throw that in there.
Yeah, but probably when you're homeless, or you had more people, you met more people out there than you had. Probably some you could rely on, but then there's probably a lot of scary people too. So,
yep. I mean, I've always had friends that took me in. I've couch surfed. I've had no shame in that game at all. So I've always been a good friend. If you want to have friends, you have to be a good friend. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
So I've never had the problem where, I couldn't just be at someone's place, but that happens now a lot more.
I was always the one to do stuff for people. I didn't ask for nothing.
Gave the shirt off his back, and they all, when he didn't have any more to give to them, they all turned their back on him.
After I got hurt.
Those are user people. A lot of user people. A lot of user people on YouTube too. We found that out, didn't we?
Yep.
A lot of people just be using people everywhere you go, but you find out.
2010, I lost a lot of them because they thought I might need physical help. Then a few of them, they became really close friends because they knew that I had prescription drugs that I was given, pain meds and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They'd harass me until I was out. And
yeah, people do be doing that too. I've definitely had people call me. I'm like, I don't have nothing to do with pills. I never have. I don't, and they, yeah, it's serious. They'll call around for those things, man. I'll get mine back in next week. I'll hook you back up, and yeah, it's.
I know some of them people, you can walk by them with a bottle in your pocket and you got 4 Excedrin in that bottle.
Yeah, I'm not into pills at all.
No, I had to take them, and I let them get me in that little thing, and I was stuck in it for about 9 years. Ugh. And I quit cold turkey, and my doctor called me. He goes, "Why didn't you show up?" I said, "I'm quitting doing it. I'm not going to take all them pills no more." He goes, "Well, you can't just quit cold turkey." He goes, "You've been on that stuff for 9 years. It can kill you." I'm like, "Well, if it kills me, it kills me. I'm in God's hands." I said, "I'm not coming back up there no more. I don't want to be in that thing."
Wow. Yeah, you'd be like, "Watch me."
I slept about 48 hours, and that's the only issue I had. I slept through all the bad part, I guess.
That's it? And then you got off them? Was it opioids?
Yep.
Damn.
They had me on 20 milligram oxycodone and Xanax.
Oh, shit.
Had enough I could take, I think it was up to 6 a day.
Is Vicky working tonight?
Yeah, poor girl. She's trying to get back on days. She said, "I'm too old to be doing night shift."
Well, I can help now.
She goes, "I want to be up at night if I want to be up, not because I have to be."
That's a really good thing about being now. I can help.
Well, what are they playing? Poker or boo-ray?
No, I don't. No, my aunt was complaining that they don't really want to play poker. I'll go see what they're doing. I'll go and do another walk through.
Probably playing canasta.
I remember boo-ray, canasta, and
they play nickel and dime. Hey, what are you playing right now? They're playing Kiss My Ass. What are you playing right now? Crazy Rummy?
Screw your neighbor.
Screw your neighbor.
What are you doing now?
Tell them 5-card draw.
I'm talking to my
5-card draw. One-eye jacks are wild. Tell them I said that.
That is a big phone call.
They're not listening to shit right now. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What'd you say, Chuck?
Ask them if they ever heard of Dr. Pepper when you play poker.
Oh, we're not going to show that off. Is that?
What's up, Chuck? We've been to Texas.
I've been to Texas. I've been to Texas.
Yeah. So that's what's going on over there. We're going to have fun tomorrow. We're going to have fun. My uncle Richard, he's a retired sheriff, but he works for Sox Ballpark in Chicago. Security. Right there. Uncle Richard. Say hi, Uncle Richard. Say hi, Brett.
Hey, guys.
Yep, they're all geeked out on the pews. I don't know if you saw that, but that was one of them 1-5s. Yeah. I'll lose you outside. All right, I'm going to hang up now. Somebody else to get up here and talk with Chuck. If you want to keep this train going, you need to get your ass up here, people. Come on.
I'll see if I can get somebody else. I should have called Bonnie, but I don't know what problem she had. So
I seen her on Indy was doing a stream. When I got on, seemed like Indy was on. I clicked on it for a second. I heard Bonnie was on there, and but I was planning to come over here, so I wanted to come say hi and just check in with everybody. Get some more animals here. It's like a damn zoo at my house right now with animals and people. There's a couple missing over there too. There's a couple missing in there, I think. But I love a full house. I love my family. I'm having a great time, and I was missing you all, and I wanted to share my family with you guys. What are you whining about? He's just whining and whimpering. Because they're cool. See how fun they are? They're like Texas. You still on the phone with that guy from Texas? It's so funny. Like, yeah, he's my friend. They don't know YouTube. They don't know any of this stuff. They have no idea what we've been through. You guys have no idea.
Hey, Blaine.
Hey, I figure I wasn't going to let you sit there hanging, so.
I can't see this name. Hello, friend. Are you a friend or foe? Oh, let's go up my nose, why don't we?
That's Blaine Guardsman.
What's up? All right, well, I'm bouncing. I hope you guys have a great night. Thank you for having me, Chuck, and I hope you have a good
Go have
stream.
fun with your family.
You know it, buddy. I got to.
Good to see you. Love you, girl.
Great to see you. Love y'all. Bye.
What's up, Yorga?
Oh, Yorga's down there. I was over on Yorga's panel a little while ago, actually.
Yeah, I saw him after he went off. Some reason or another, I found a thing on Google that has free video poker, and I was messing with it. It's so boring because I ain't hearing the ching, 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 ching part, but.
Online gambling. Oh, my Lord.
Yeah, I ain't. No. It's free one, so that's probably why it's boring. Don't get the rush out.
Well, there's your problem. I mean, go spend a couple of days and nights in Vegas. You might never leave. You never know.
Yeah, the wife wants to get out, and I usually got pretty good luck with some of them games. So, hell, if I ever hit it big, I might call the kids and sign everything over, pay it off, and not come back for a year.
Sounds like a plan.
I'd love to spend a year somewhere out in backwoods, somewhere where find a cabin or something. And I don't think I'd miss much technology as long as I had a fishing pole and the stuff to hunt. I'd be fine.
That right there sounds like the plan. That's something I can get behind.
Yeah, my uncle was telling me about how they used to make deep freezers when they'd hunt elk in Alaska. He said it'd already be cold out. He goes, but they'll take like a big tub and they'll fill it mostly full of water and then put a bucket or something else inside of it that'll fill up to like other than 6 or 8 inches around the circumference. And they'll put it down in there and put weights in there where it'll hold it suspended, where it'll make it almost like a giant water bowl with a float. And what they do is they let that freeze, pull the bucket out of the middle and the bucket off the outside and make a lid out of ice. And he said they'll put like a whole deer, whole elk in that or whatever after they get it all worked over. And that's their deep freezes they leave outside.
That's one way of doing it. I also saw another one when I was sitting there watching TV shows. Ever heard of that? It was like, I don't want to say Mountain Man. I want to say it was like something else. Basically, is these folks that live up there in Alaska, and they literally live off the land. That's all they do. And so they turn around and they this one feller who lives all like way up there, like far north. Nobody's coming to get him. He's hundreds of miles away from anyone. You know, when he gets shipments in, they come in by bush plane. I mean, you know, that kind of.
That's like up towards Yukon and stuff, huh?
Yeah. Anyways, this feller, in order to make it so that he could keep a moose over the winter, and for that matter, you know, through most of the summer, he built an underground, what they call a salt room.
Yeah.
And the only reason why they call them salt rooms is because when you get down that far into the permafrost, because you can only go down about like 1.5 feet, 2 foot, and then you got to build up over the top and put a whole bunch of sod over that because of how the ground is out there. So once you get down to the permafrost, all the ground, it just freezes over, and it looks like there's salt all over the ground.
Yeah.
But it literally turns into like a deep freezer.
I've heard it's almost like an igloo type thing they build to put it in, huh? Hey, Lisa.
Y'all were talking about casinos. Am I here? Am I on?
Yeah, we hear you. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know, Lisa, what happened to it. I'm checking that now.
I went to one time in my life. I went to Atlantic City, and I was in there like 5 minutes and started playing the slot machine, and it started going crazy. And I swear to you, I thought I broke the damn thing because it was going crazy. The slot machine was going crazy. And what I didn't know was I was winning, and I won like $569, like right off the bat, man. And I was like, holy shit, this is cool. And of course, they're bringing you free drinks and everything. And then I went to play roulette, which there's no way you can cheat on roulette, and I was just, I had like a horseshoe up my ass or something, man. I kept winning. And I won like well over $1,000 in my first day there. I was like, good God, this is great. And I won more the next day. And then the next morning I woke up, it was the day I had to go home. I went to the roulette table and I lost $40 in like 4 minutes. And I went, all right, I'm done. Because I've won all this money. I don't know what's going on here. I'm not used to casinos or anything. And I just said, I'm just going to take my winnings and go home. And I did.
Smart man, because you would have lost that and more. I just want to I want to point out the reason why I giggled when he says you can't cheat at the roulette table.
Right.
Brother, the mob was doing that back in the 20s.
Oh, with magnets or whatnot.
Yeah, they had brakes on the balls or brakes on the spinner, and then magnets on.
All right, I'll take that one back. But I was winning like a bitch. I can tell you. Maybe they just saw me. Look at this sucker. He doesn't know what a casino is, which I didn't. And the thing is, I'd love to learn how to play crap because the crap tables are where everybody's having fun. You know what I mean? They're hooping and hollering and everything, and I don't understand the game at all. But that's where I want to be, man, on the crap table.
Because everybody's winning big or losing big, and it's entertaining as hell.
Oh my God! Yeah.
I was at the Horseshoe Casino in Shreveport here 3 or 4 years ago, and we were in Oklahoma, and we went to one of the casinos there, Indian casino, with my cousin or my wife's sister, and they had a Wheel of Fortune game, and I liked it, so I went up when we were at the Horseshoe. I looked around to see if I could find one, and I found some Wheel of Fortune games. So
Are you talking about the slot machine?
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I don't mean to stop you, but that's the one that I first walked up to, and I won $569 on was the Wheel of Fortune slot machine. No kidding, man.
And I went up there, and this guy was playing, and I told him about being in Oklahoma, got on one. They had this thing I was in Oklahoma, it was probably 12 seats in a half moon shape, had a big giant wheel on the wall behind it. You played off your computer thing in front of you, and you looked up at the wall, but you also had a monitor down here. And I played, I hit max bets. I stuck $100 in it, and I thought I had max credits, and the machine flickered. I never paid attention. I was playing, and I hit on the Wheel of Fortune. I hit the max thing, the max number, and it spun, and I got the max multiplier. And I'm like, I don't even know how much that's supposed to be. And it was like bing, 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 whistle going off, people checking and looking. And I looked down, and I had one credit bet. The machine, when it glitched out, dropped my bet down from like a $5 bet to a quarter bet.
Oh, great.
I still won like $870 off a quarter.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was telling that guy about it, and I was going to say I was going to try it here because I just like the way the thing went. He goes, "Yeah, I was here last year," and he showed me a video on his phone. He stopped what he was doing. He hit because I have the banner over the top. It rings what the jackpot is, what it is, because his horseshoe has them. All their horseshoe things are connected. And the jackpot, the payoff is what all of them have in a collective. He won $5 million a year. It was his anniversary. He won $5 million. He goes, "I'm coming up here. I bought 25 grand with me. I'm going to see if it'll hit again. If it doesn't," he goes, "I'm not gambling anymore." He goes, "Because I don't need to."
Yeah.
And this dude's like 25 years old.
That's a smart man. You know what was weird is I was at the Tropicana in Atlantic City. And you know how those places are massive and you can almost get lost in them or whatnot. That Wheel of Fortune machine that I won on that first day, I could never find that machine again. I came down the next day. I was like, I'm going back to that one because I like that. You know, I could never find it, man. It was the first one that I happened to, you know, pull the thing. I mean, there's bands playing and bars and stuff everywhere, you know. I could never find that machine again.
Yeah, they either, if they give away too much, they take them out or change them or.
No, I don't think that was it. It was just that I was just in a maze and I couldn't get back to where
the spot was.
I was. Yeah, that's all that was to it. It was still there, I'm sure. But
yeah, drinks to it like these boats are here in Shreveport. There's like 3 or 4 levels in there. And I've gotten turned around and got on the elevator and got off somewhere else just because they said that so-and-so is this place. Go on there over there and hit 3 or 2 and then turn around and forget where I initially was, where my wife was. And
have you ever been to Chicago O'Hare International Airport? It's not actually. It's probably worse now. I was there in 2017. I was there in 1986, but it's like in 1986. It was like a big square that you walked around, and there was a popcorn machine, and then there was this, and there was that, and there was the blah 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 blah. You get to the next corner. There's a popcorn machine. There's this. There's that. There's this. There's that. Every corner looks the same, so you get like, you know, where did I start from here? It was horrible. Thank God I have children that can. Last time I was in Chicago O'Hare, my daughter was with me. She's like, "Dad, go this way, go up this ramp, go." You know, she knew exactly where to go, and I'm just walking around lost as hell because everything looks the same. Every corner of it looked the same. Starbucks, you know, there's 4 or 5 of them in there. I know. I was like,
they can't. They got a Starbucks on every street corner and at least 4 or 5 in every international airport. That's one of their biggest boasts.
Yep. They're everywhere, and God bless them. If they're making money, go for it, man. You know. Benjamin Kandari says O'Hare is only 10 miles from him. Yeah, I've been in O'Hare a few times. It's always hairy coming in there. Last time I came in there, we're over, what was it, Lake Michigan, I guess. And the wind was so bad, they were like, you know, because it's windy there, man. And they were like, you got to turn around and come back again, and turn around and come back again, and turn around and come back again. Finally, the pilot was just like, screw it, we're going in, man. And it was like, pow, pow, pow. And everybody on the plane was like, hell yeah, land this bitch, man.
Chicago, we are bingo fuel coming in whether you want us to or not.
Right. The sad thing is, I was at boot camp in Waukegan, Illinois, which is a little bit north of Chicago, when I was in the Navy. And we got to spend some time in Chicago, and I love that town. I love that town. But that town is gone to hell in a handbasket, and to me, it's incredibly sad because, and I'm from the South. I was one of those guys when I went to up north. People would say, "Just talk," because I've got this accent. I don't even think I have an accent, but to them, I got an accent. And I'm like, "What do you want me to say? Mary had a little lamb, or what the hell you want?"
What you want me to do?
They're like,
Retread time?
just talk. We love your accent. But everybody up there treated me well, treated me very nice, and I look at Chicago now, and it's like, man, what a shithole, man. That's a shame, man. There's a little piece of my heart that loves Chicago, but it's been I don't know, 30 years since I've been there. So
that's like me in Cleveland.
The Cleveland rocks. No, I've never been to Cleveland.
Yeah, I was born in Fairview Park. It's right in like a suburb of Cleveland.
Okay. Well, that's all kind of sort of the same area.
Yeah.
Dodgy! Sure! Y'all know Dodgy, right?
Yeah.
Dodgy's my friend. He's a Kiwi. He's from New Zealand. He's cool. He's got a Harley in New Zealand.
Cleveland is Ohio. Chicago is Illinois.
Yeah, I know, but they're still kind of close. I think
they're close if you consider the Midwest to be close.
That's what I'm saying. In the general area, the Midwest. And the funny thing is about the Midwest, it really ain't that far west. But the reason they call it that is because the frontier back in the old days was the Ohio River.
Yeah.
That was it.
That's what they used to call the West.
That was the West, was up to the Ohio River. Yeah.
I tell her I've been here in Texas going on 10 years. I said I tried to get here as fast as I could. I was in Louisiana for years. Moved out of Ohio. I think I was 10 or 11. Then we went back with my parents. I was 17 or 18. They wanted to go back, and Dad had one winter there, and he realized why he didn't want to be there. And I'd met my wife in that time, so her parents told her to get the fuck out of Ohio.
Probably the best advice they ever gave her.
Yeah.
I was not going to say something, but then, okay. All right.
You take Chicago, you take Cleveland, you take New York City, you take Philly, but all of them's just the size is a difference. They're all the same kind of shithole with all the stuff that goes on there.
Yeah. It's sad about Chicago, though, man. That place is sad. You know what? We got leave. We got leave when we were at the end of boot camp, and we got some advice that one of the chiefs, I was going to say company commander, but it was one of the chiefs came in and talked to all of us and said, "Look, y'all have leave. You're going to go out and get drunk. You're going to go be boys, whatever." And he took a map and he drew a big red circle with a magic marker around Cabrini Green, around that area of Chicago. He said, whatever you do, don't go here. You know what Cabrini Green is, right?
I think I've heard of it. Bad area.
It's the projects, which, I feel sorry for those people and everything.
But it's the South Side.
Yeah, man. It's the place you don't. Have you ever seen the Candyman movies? That's all Cabrini Green. But they were like, drew this big circle on the map and gave everybody a map and went, go anywhere but here, man. Don't go here, man.
Yeah. Definitely not a tourist attraction. Kind of like the east side of Cleveland. That was bad there back then.
Yeah. It was funny. And then they drew an arrow straight up to Racine, Wisconsin. They said, if you want to meet nice girls, go to Racine, Wisconsin. So we went to Racine, Wisconsin.
Wasn't very far either, was it?
No, it wasn't that bad. I can't remember how far up it was, but it wasn't that bad.
My son worked on the Mississippi River. He's on a tugboat. They were teaching him to be a captain, and they'd go all the way from New Orleans all the way up into Chicago, up and down the Mississippi River.
Man,
he loved it, but his girl was pregnant, and she faked having issues, and he missed one day, and they blackballed him over it because he missed that day and called and said he could catch up to him or whatever, if they could extend him, give vacation or whatever, because she was having issues. And he goes, well, he goes, that's all well and good. If she had issues, we want to see some kind of doctor's excuse. And he goes, she wouldn't go. And he's like, okay, so you're telling me you're a no-call, no-show.
Oh, wow.
Ruined his career, upset his the captain of the barge he was on was trying to train him up to become a captain. He rose up from the bottom. He was just a hand out there. He was right at first mate, wasn't he? Yeah. His captain said, "Yeah, once you hit my position," he said, in about 5 years, he goes, "You can't shake a stick at the money." He goes, I make $45,000 a week, or $45,000 a month. Sorry about that.
Yeah, still.
That's nice.
Like almost 600 grand a year. Or for almost 500 grand, something like that.
Damn.
600, yeah, more like it. Let's see, that's 45, that's 90. 55, 40, something like that.
The thing about Chicago is it was geographically, and the name is an Indian name. Is the Indians called it like Chicago, something like that. But you get from the Atlantic Ocean up through the Great Lakes and come down, and right there at Chicago, they called it the gateway to empire.
Yeah.
You could, what do they call it? Portage boats over into, I think, the Chicago River, which led to the Mississippi, which led to the rest of the West. You know what I mean? It was the gateway to empire, and that's why that little area right there was so important. And they had a giant massacre right there. Fort Dearborn, I think it was. They had an Indian massacre, and after that, they thought it was all gone. But us Europeans kept coming back in. We're gonna, because they had the portage, and it would lead you to greater things. The West. So. Benjamin said Cabrini Green is gone now. I guess they bulldozed it or whatever. But it was just a big set of projects.
Yeah, it's kind of like New Orleans over there, the part where the worst flooding was. And people didn't want to leave, and that was the worst part of it, because when the levees dropped, it just ruined that.
I still can't understand why they would make a city that is below sea level. I never figured that out.
It doesn't make sense, does it?
No.
The whole city's built like a bowl. The further in, the deeper down further it was, and all it was, the levees were, is you'd walk up to the levees, and they said there'd be water 3 foot up where you're standing. Basically, if you were out there, ain't no telling how deep it dropped off on the other side, but it'd be 3 feet up the walls. You could walk up to it and stick your hand in the water. And I'm like, yeah.
I don't answer to your question. You'd actually have to go back there to the 1600s and get a hold of what's his fellers, ask him what he was thinking when he built up the township there. Well, there's already people living there, mind.
It was supposed to be a porting town for the French.
Yep.
Well, like I said, there was already people living there. Even before this fella came in and said, okay, well, we're going to build a township here. There was already people living there.
In big swamp.
And build all those levees and whatnot. It's like, what? What are you doing, man?
Yeah, the levees pop, the water floods in, the electric goes out, then the pumps stop, and the water gets worse, and then it's not displacing the water. It's a big mess.
Never made sense to me, but I don't know.
Florida,
It might have
Florida,
seemed like a good idea at the time. I don't know.
Florida's the same way. You shut down the power. A lot of them cities all in there, even inland, have a lot of pumps that pump water out.
I believe it.
Well, they'd be
I believe it.
inundated in no time.
That's why you see most of them houses on stilts.
Yeah, but Florida, if the grid ever shuts down, it's most of Florida look like the Everglades.
Hey, we had I worked for a major chemical corporation, and we had we had to get rid of waste, which was chemical waste. All right. So it was packed up in these things called lever packs. It's like a 55-gallon drum, but they were basically cardboard with a metal top and a metal bottom. You know what a lever pack is?
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, back in the 80s, early 80s, we shipped them down to Lake Pontchartrain, which is down there in Louisiana. I don't even laugh about it because it's environmentally really screwed up. And, so we just passed them off on somebody else, and they would say, we'll take care of them. We didn't know the chemicals that we had, and I could tell you one of them was sulfuric acid, in these containers would react with water.
Sulfuric acid pretty violently.
One of them, yeah. One of them launched like the space shuttle, man. Freaking, it rained down there, and one of them launched like the space shuttle up at freaking where this place they had them stored, and they were like, "All right, we can't do this anymore." God, I wish somebody had video of that shit. They said that son of a bitch launched just like a rocket, man.
Well, I'm sure. Look, sulfuric acid, when it comes into contact with water, immediately gets so hot that it vaporizes the water into steam.
Thank
so
you.
What ends up
That's
happening
what it
is
did.
that you end up with a steam pressure canister that all of a sudden becomes a mini bomb or a rocket, depending on where that steam goes.
It launched, man. They said we got to figure something else out. We can't put them down there. No. But yeah, that was at Lake Pontchartrain.
Yeah, that's right over between Baton Rouge and New Orleans.
Yeah. Can you imagine though, if you were like the dumb ass that's making $5 an hour and you're watching this area with all this waste, and all of a sudden this rocket comes flying up out.
That's like the reaction from carbide. That's where they get the gas in it. And they used to have old carbide lamps.
Oh my God. What are they going to do with all these batteries from these freaking cars now, these electric cars?
They can't do nothing. They can't reuse them. I don't know why. They need to figure out some way to reuse it, but they don't want water to hit that shit either. So,
well, I'll put it this way. They don't want anything that happens to have, plutonium as an ingredient in it anywhere around those, because if you didn't know, lithium is actually what they utilize to make the Castle Bravo nuke more powerful.
yeah, it's not a good thing. And you got people over there digging this stuff and finding pieces of it with their hands.
Yeah, little kids digging up cobalt.
Yeah, you come up with a chunk, you get a handful of rice or beans or something like that. That's
yep.
These people don't even know what they're having them do and how sick they're going to be and what's going to happen to them.
Yeah, but that's A-okay as long as you can drive your electric car.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's, hey kids, you want to meet Jesus? Come over here and dig up some of this lithium.
And if you find something, give me a cup of rice.
But it's for the environment. It's supposed to make it safer.
Yeah.
I saw a video of a guy who had a pickup truck that was an electric pickup truck, stalled out on the side of the road, and he had a generator in the back of the truck charging the truck.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw a few of them doing that. That's the stupidest thing I ever saw.
It's the dumbest thing in the world, man.
I watched a guy create a mobile generator where he took a starter and he hooked it up to the back tire, and it was always charging the fucking batteries as he was moving.
Yeah, I've seen one guy where he made a car out of that carbon fiber, and the carbon fiber he inlaid, covered it with layers of that flexible solar panel LEDs. So the car was constantly, if it's during the day, it would constantly charge the batteries up, and it didn't even have to be plugged in. He said he could go half again as far driving it during the daytime as you normally could, because it was pretty efficient with keeping the batteries charged.
Well, then there's also the hydrogen powered car.
Yeah,
all you have to do is you can take a 9-volt battery and take a lead off of each, the positive and the negative, and stick it in water, and bubbles will come up, and the bubbles are hydrogen.
Yeah.
How easy is that? You know what I mean?
The hydrogen separator. Bad thing is it's very explosive.
Is it?
Yep.
Yeah, that's actually not just hydrogen. It's called Brownian gas, and it's named for the discoverer of the electrolysis, John Brown. And what it is it's hydrogen and oxygen in its perfectly stoichiometric measurement to be detonatory, meaning that it will explode with its absolute utmost force.
Really?
Under regular combustion, chemical combustion.
I saw a guy that made one of the things that he made a separator, but it went into like this cannon drum that had a spark plug in it, and it would bubble out, and it constantly, every time it sparked, it sounded like a machine gun. He'd just sit there and pop, 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 pop with it, and all he'd do is pour a can of water in this thing, and it would sit there, and he said as long as I let it run, it'd sit there and do that for like an hour off of a cup of water.
Oh yeah.
How cool is that, though? I mean, if it'll get you down the road.
But they find out you're doing it. If they don't lock you up for having something explosive, then they'll rub you out for the idea, because they don't want something as simple as water to run things. Because when it's done and it burns all that, it all turns around and turns back in and back into H2O again once it gets in the atmosphere.
Yep.
Actually, here's the crazy thing. The action of combusting Brownian gas turns the gas itself into water vapor.
Yep.
Because what you're doing is you're taking electricity and you're ripping molecules apart. So you say this is your hydrogen and these are your oxygen atoms. What you're doing with that electricity is you're running a current across the hydrogen and pulling those atoms apart. So now you've got oxygen in its perfect combustible form, and hydrogen, which is the perfect fuel. You take those two and you put them together, they have no exhaust. They just automatically become water vapor. And because it's already water vapor, you could run it through a condenser and have it go right back into the car and never have any kind of exhaust whatsoever.
You know somebody back in the 1920s or 1930s came up with all this stuff. I mean, I don't have no evidence or anything, but you know how smart people were back then.
Tesla,
of course. And other people, they came up with this free energy sort of, Pandora's box that would shut down oil companies and everything. And I'm not against oil companies. I don't want to mean it like that, but there's better ways of.
It's not so much that, it was against oil companies or anything like that. It's a matter of
Hey,
For
Beaver.
the electricity that you need, for the actual sine wave you need specific components that can only be made with petroleum products. So it doesn't matter what you're doing as far as electricity is concerned. You still need to have the petroleum. Otherwise, you can't have the electricity.
But
They go hand
still,
in hand and they can't go apart.
But still, if you can run electricity into water and create hydrogen and oxygen, like you said, in its pure form, uh, my
That
God,
negates your gasoline. That doesn't take away your plastics. That doesn't take away your insulators. That doesn't take
Yep.
away the nitrogen that you need to get from that.
Oils.
Nor does it take away from the methane utilized in order to produce that whatchamacallit, the browning gas from the electrolysis that you use to burn in the car. Because the methane is what's actually burning and producing power through creating steam and running turbines. And those turbines create the electricity.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that goes and ends up in the battery that you use in order to run the electrolysis machine. So there again, it's all a continuous chain process that people don't
Sure.
see. They think, oh well, if we go and we change over to electrical, we can just make everything better, and it doesn't work like that. It actually
No,
works
it
the opposite.
don't. It don't work like that. Here's another one of my pet peeves: is every time they show. All right, when I grew up in the '60s, my dad worked for the same company I worked for, and I'm not going to name the company, but they had smokestacks, and smoke is bellowing out, and it stunk. And you didn't, in elementary school, you didn't dare tell anybody you were going to school with that your dad worked for that company because they're like, it stinks.
Yeah.
Well, during the '70s, they cleaned all that stuff up, blah, blah, blah. When you see smokestacks from this place now, the only thing that's coming out of there is steam. The only thing that's coming out is steam. And we had cooling towers. Okay. You know what a cooling tower is. And
Yeah.
there's nothing but water vapor coming out of the cooling tower. But every time on TV they show a nuke plant, they show the cooling towers and the stuff coming out. And everybody thinks, oh, that's polluting stuff. It's water vapor. It's like me vaping my vape, or that's all there is. There's nothing. It's not a reactor. A lot of people think those are the reactors. They're the cooling towers. All they do is pump water to the top, and as the water falls, it's called a diptic action. And it as the water falls, it cools as it hits the air, and that's it. Because manufacturers like that, and they need chilled water. They need chilled water, and that's I mean, it's the most basic machine in the world. It's just to pump water up, let it drop, and it cools as it goes down. And every time you see something about a nuke plant, they show those cooling towers. And I'm like, that's baloney, man. That's not a reactor, man.
The funny thing is you look at those cooling towers, most of the time, those cooling towers that they take pictures of aren't even next to nuclear plants. They're actually next to other plants, like the ones I was talking about with the natural gas or the coal fire steam-powered turbines that make your electricity. How do you think that they take and then cool off all of that machinery that's being run by...
They need chilled water. And the funny thing is, check this out. A major, I'm trying not to say the name of the company I work for, but any major industry needs a railroad, a highway, and a river. They need those three things to exist. And where I worked at, we had a river. And there were times where, like, the filter got clogged up. We had what's called potable water, which you could drink, and then basically river water that would come in for the cooling towers and stuff. And every now and then a filter would get clogged up, and you have to pull it out, and there's a fish in there or something, man. Seriously, man, dumping raw river water in there, you know, for the cooling towers and whatnot.
Well, yeah, and what get back to what I was saying. The reason why most of those things that you see nowadays, all that is just steam, happens to be because of the way that they take the pollutants out of the air before it ever gets up those stacks anymore. And another thing, if some of these idiots that watch these climate things and whatnot actually saw what a nuclear reactor looked like the building that it's in, they would think that it looked like the apartment building across the street from their office. They wouldn't know what they were looking at.
Another thing is that a lot of people think about like a nuclear powered aircraft carrier or a submarine. Like it's running off nuclear. Yeah, it is. But the nuclear is only producing steam. It's actually a steam powered ship.
Yep.
A lot of people don't get that. They think it's just like Star Trek. They think it's, it's Star Trek. It's
subfleet. They were all set up so that no matter what type of fuel is utilized, they can still be run. Our whole naval fleet was set up that way. Whether it's bunker fuel, it's freaking diesel, it's coal, it's nuclear power, whatever the case may be, whatever makes the steam. The power plant itself doesn't change.
So many people do not know that. Those things are actually running off of steam. That's created by nuclear, but you're right. It could be created by coal or freaking wood or whatever, man. As long as you make steam, they're steam-powered ships.
Yep. That's how they were designed to be, so that no matter what, they could be run indefinitely. They were built to last beyond their commission. In other words.
Oh, the subs can go down for forever. The only thing they have to come back up for is food.
Well, yeah, because of nuclear power. But say that they had to go to the unfortunate reality of, nuclear power is off the table for a short while. They have to go to alternative methods. They could still burn diesel or bunker fuel in order to run their turbines. All right. This is all submarines, all of our nuclear submarines can do this. They just don't because nuclear power is so efficient.
Exactly.
What I'm saying is, in the absence of the nuclear fuel, the fissile fuel, they can still run those machines. It would just be a whole lot less efficient.
Well, a diesel sub could run diesel, on the surface, and then This old World War II stuff.
Because of electrolysis, what we were talking about earlier.
Okay.
Because of electrolysis, now they can run those underwater and never have to surface. Because what they do is they filter off the fuel from the diesel, through the exhaust, whatever. That gets ported out through, the exhaust ports. From water, they gain the oxygen, and then they off-gas the hydrogen as a high-pressure off-gassing outlet to push the exhaust out of the system. So you're getting fresh air, and you're burning diesel underwater.
Wow.
Yeah, we were talking about the hydrogen separators. You see the guys, I don't know if he's still on there, if they got his videos taken down, but he made took like a 5-horse or 8-horse Briggs and Stratton, like go-kart engine or what have you.
I love me some Briggs and Stratton.
And he made a hydrogen separator system and had a distiller coming off the exhaust. And it would come back, work its way back into the system of the water. And he put, I want to say it was a half gallon of water in the tank, the initial tank that the hydrogen separator was in. And he started that up, and it was connected to a old washing machine motor that worked as a generator. And he ran that thing ran his shed in a deep freezer off of that for 5 days before he ended up killing the video off of it. And then I never seen no more videos out of him. So I don't know if he got in trouble over it, if something happened over it, and showing people like, 'cause he was showing like how to put it together. And
yeah,
yeah, they shut
ruin your whole life over it, dude.
If you come up with a great idea, they will shut you down quick.
He probably got his door kicked in.
Probably did. Have you ever seen the video of there's a guy that came up with this perpetual motion machine?
Yeah, when Kim was talking about it, and I had a buddy of mine who got into it, and he tried to get a patent on his idea, and he got a letter back from him, and all they said is, "Stop it now."
Well, I just remember this one where this guy had this thing that was not even 10 by 10, maybe 6 by 6. And there was this big thing that was rotating inside of it. And he got it going, and everybody kept messing with him and kept messing with him. And finally, he just lost it and turned into an asshole and was like, no, I ain't doing this no more. But he had something that was like a big, heavy thing that was rotating. You know, I don't know. I mean, you never know about this kind of stuff, whether it's real or not, but it seemed real.
It can be done. And I've looked at the math, but buddies of mine used to tell me I got what they call a retard math kind of thing, that I understand it without even being educated in some of the things like physics. I've never done anything to do it, took any classes on physics. I completely understand it. I know how it works. I can describe the stuff talking about it. But then I always introduce math into a lot of that stuff, which I got this weird thing with a lot of times with math. Well, anyway, he was working on this like you're talking about. What he based his off of, he took a couple smaller rear ends out of a couple small vehicles, and he had them set up with counterweights and stuff. And he got it where it worked, and he had it all wrote down, and he would get it to levitate and where to move back and forth on the ground. And that's what happened. He ended up stopping it. He took a cutting torch and cut all the shit up and just left it alone. He said it freaked him out. He's ex-military, and he goes, I know what it meant. And he goes, I ain't done with all I needed to do yet. He goes, I'll just go to something else.
We got a lot to talk about. When I was a kid, and I know I've told you this before, my dad was a fighter pilot in World War II, and he was ended up as a lieutenant colonel. In 1965, he told me, come here. I was 5 years old. He said, I want to show you something. And it was a piece of cable, black cable, like, you know, you see cable where there's a whole bunch of cables inside and the outside is wrapped around a black, you know, insulator or whatever. And he shined a flashlight up in it, a military flashlight, and on the other end, light came out. This was fiber optics. It looked like it came out of a plane crash. I swear. It looked like it was ripped out of something. And he said, I just want you to see this real quick. And I never could understand it. You could shine a flashlight in it, and on the other end, the light was coming out. Fiber optics in 1965. Where the hell did that come from? I don't know.
Yeah, all it is hair, basically glass. And
yeah, but I mean, back then.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, early, it was like, did this come out of the freaking Roswell crash or what the hell, Pop? My dad, I'm like, where the hell did this come from? And he was like, I ain't telling you.
Look at Star Trek and their communicators, and then look at the first Razor's phones.
I know it.
Right.
Supposedly, well, I'm not going to go there. I'll get too far into stuff I shouldn't talk about. You know what Kevlar is, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I used to make that shit. I made that shit for years. That supposedly came from the Roswell crash.
I know who you work for.
According to Robert Corso, who wrote a book called The Day After Roswell, talked about all these items they got from the Roswell crash they gave to different companies, Dow, DuPont, I forget the other company I'm thinking about, but yeah, they gave technologies to different companies that they developed, and purportedly, Kevlar came from the Roswell crash. Yeah.
And now the aliens, when they go by, lock their doors.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. That was the word I was looking for. That's the word I was looking for.
Allegedly.
And like a couple seconds after Chuck said what he said, I was like, wait a minute, he was looking for a word. Oh, allegedly.
I was, and it was allegedly. So thank you. Thank you for that.
Allegedly and satire.
Somebody's rolling cigarettes.
Yeah, that's me.
I know.
Yeah.
A lot of people say, what are you doing?
It always sounds like to me you're like drilling a hole in a wall or something.
Yeah, people say, what are you doing? I said, drilling molars.
Drilling molars.
He's the dentist. DDS. That should be your name, Psychobilly DDS.
See, it puts the lotion on his skin, or he gets the molar drilled again.
It could be worse.
There goes that bicuspid.
You could be doing tooth removal on the dentist.
Yeah. Hey, Ragnar.
You could remove teeth and do it live stream.
Yeah. Depending on who I say I supported, they'd probably leave it alone too. If I was on the other side, then it'd be like, okay, he's good. He can do that.
Yeah.
Ideals aren't for sale, so.
Oh God, that hurt. Oh. There goes that bicuspid.
Better watch out. Your incisors are next.
Dr. Snaggletooth.
Dr. Snaggletooth.
Man, I had a dentist named Dr. Payne one time. T-A-I-N-E. Dr. Payne. I'm like, no, I got to change doctors, man.
I had a doctor, or not a doctor, a dentist with the name of Dr. Samples.
Samples? Ooh, I don't like that either.
Like,
Right. So even if he was like a dentist, you'd bring him a stool sample just in case. You know what I mean?
You said Dr. Samples made me think of Hee-Haw and Junior on there. Junior Samples.
BR549. Called BR549.
Yeah. Hey, Grandpa, what's for supper?
I know. And Grandpa, the funny thing about Grandpa was he'd be like washing a window, and then they'd say, Grandpa, what's for dinner? And he'd stick his hand right through the window because there's not a piece of glass in there. He'd go, well, you know, we got mosquito knees and black-eyed peas. He'd be like watching his window, like, Grandpa, what's for dinner? And he'd go, God, I love that show. I love that show. And they had the hottest chicks. They had the hottest chicks on that show, man. Holy crap. Jumping up out of that cornfield.
I forget the name of the show. They had Goldie Hawn. She was one of the go-go dancers on there way back in the day.
The Laugh-In.
Yep. Yep.
And we love that show too. Well, we didn't have a whole lot of choices back then. We had like 3 channels, you know. Everybody watched Ed Sullivan. Everybody watched, and before it was the Wonderful World of Disney, it was called the Wonderful World of Color. Do you remember that? Are you old enough to remember that? Wonderful World of Color. You know, we had, I don't know. The Flintstones were on at night when they first came on. It was like a primetime show at night.
Yeah.
Did you get the Looney Tunes in Technicolor?
Looney Tunes. Oh, God. They're so good. Bugs Bunny is my spirit animal. Or Daffy Duck, actually. Daffy Duck, probably.
I always like Foghorn Leghorn. I say there, boy.
I say, boy, I keep throwing them. You keep missing them. You must have a hole in your glove.
I say there, boy.
I say, my favorite Foghorn Leghorn was the one where he was playing football. Remember that? It was like a 250-pound chicken with a football helmet on.
And then the chicken hog.
My favorite one has to be this one. Well, I guess it's a good thing I keep my feathers numbered for this such an occasion.
Come here, dog.
Come here, dog.
What a great character. Foghorn Leghorn was hilarious, man. And then he had that old lady that was trying to come on him all the time, going, ooh. I forget what her name was.
Simple Times. I remember Sunday morning cartoons was a shit.
Yeah. Roadrunner.
Y'all had Sunday cartoons. I got one Saturday morning.
Yeah, we had Saturday morning cartoons.
And if you lived
all
around
day
Cleveland,
long.
there's stuff in Cleveland, they'd have them Sunday morning too. Saturday, yeah. Most of the time Saturday, if Dad was up, like, I ain't watching that bullshit.
Yeah, that's how you know that I was watching cartoons in the 90s. I got the TV program one Saturday morning.
They play them now on Me TV. Saturday morning, they have cartoons again.
Huh.
On Me, yeah, on Me TV. Yep. All the good ones. All the good ones.
I thought watching the stuff my kids watch.
And G.I. Joe again.
I thought watching the shows my kids watched growing up were bad. And now I look back at the cartoons we watched, they were pretty violent and weird and wild.
They had shotguns. They had freaking Elmer Fudd with a shotgun blowing freaking Daffy Duck's
beak around.
Beak around.
We weren't stupid enough to go, okay, every kid I knew had a shotgun and a 30-30 hanging in the back window of their truck at high school. But then you didn't have people shooting each other like that.
Yeah, we weren't dumb enough to do that, but we were dumb enough to have the BB gun wars. We had the BB gun wars around here.
Bottle rocket wars and rock fight.
Roman candles.
Yep.
It was everybody was trying to come up with the newest weapon. It was almost like Korea versus fucking United States or something.
Yeah, snowball fights were okay.
On me and my cousins, we took a thing of homemade C4 out back and blew it up.
Look, the greatest weapon that, and I lived down in the bottom of the neighborhood. Okay, we had an upper neighborhood and we had a bottom neighborhood. And we always had wars. The greatest weapon we ever came up with was all of our parents had old tennis rackets laying around. And none of our parents played tennis. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we get those big giant green acorns, man. And we fill
Oh,
up barrels of
God.
the green acorns, and you hit a green acorn with a tennis racket, and it was like a bullet hitting you, man. It was like, wow, man. It was like horrible, man. And we
That's
won.
amazing.
And we won that war. We won that war. I have to tell you.
Some of it whistle. Some of it whistle if you hit them hard enough too. I remember you remember how they'd whistle if you hit them hard enough?
My God. And the other side, they were like Korea. They were just throwing dirt clods at us and stuff. Remember dirt clods?
Yeah.
You know? And we were launching the freaking things, man. The green acorn with the tennis racket, man. It was like a bullet hitting you. Yeah, we won big time. We gained supremacy over the neighborhood with that shit, man. I'll tell you what.
I was always a good shot with throwing rocks, and my uncle made me a slingshot before wrist rockets come out. And what he did, he heated up the wood and bent it around where had the handle, and the other part of it came up and wrapped around the top of your wrist, kind of like a little corkscrew would fit and hold against your wrist.
Yeah.
And I would shoot acorns when that slingshot. Now that was just about as bad as a tennis racket.
It was just as bad. Yeah. It's in fact more accurate, because the tennis racket, you were just kind of winging it. You were just kind of going for it.
Yeah, tennis racket, you're just shuttlecocking it out there, but with that wrist rocket, man, you can get on it.
Yeah, they called me the sniper.
Here's the terrible thing, is it escalated. This war escalated, and my friend, his name was Marty Richardson. He's dead now, but his mother had a shit pile of, and this is terrible because we destroyed a bunch of stuff that's worth a ton of money right now. She had a shit pile of like Elvis Presley, I don't know who else, records. They were 78s. Remember the 78s?
Yeah.
Oh, God, man, that's a lot of money.
They were thick. They were thick. And we ran down into his basement and grabbed a bunch of 78 records and started throwing them like frisbees at their enemy. The bad part that we didn't realize was when they hit, they would break, because they weren't plastic. They were like Bakelite or something.
Yeah, they fucking explode. They're like shale and shit.
Yeah, and turn into like this jagged thing. And all of a sudden, we started seeing them coming back. We started seeing them coming back at us, and they were all jagged and everything. We're like, oh,
it's what
one
they
guy
call
damn near got castrated.
Lysolized propylene.
Okay.
In other words, it's like wax, but with its sound quality, but it's plastic. It's really hard plastic.
Yeah, they were thick. They were 78s. And my God, how much would they be worth now? And we destroyed them. We destroyed them all. But like I said, we thought it was a good idea at first. And it was funny. The funny thing is, my dad, and we lived down the street a little bit. And my dad was having a drink with the guy that lived behind him. And they were like, I think I just saw a record album flying across the sky. He was like, no, and he was like, wait a minute, I just saw another one. It's jagged now. It's like coming back.
Everybody thinks that they're made out of propane. Not propane. Out of vinyl, because people used to say playing the vinyl. But the reality is, they're not made out of vinyl per se. I mean, it's old vinyl that's been turned into propylene.
I have no idea. I just know that when somebody throws one back, it's going to be more dangerous than the one you threw at them.
Well, yeah,
I remember all that was all fun and games I remember that was all fun and games doing that shit till one of the neighbors' windows got busted.
Oh, we did that too. We did that too.
All the kids got their asses tore up if the neighbor's window got busted. That's when it all got shut down.
That same guy that I used to hang out with, his family was into playing golf, and the only thing I did with golf was caddy. That's all I ever did was caddy. I couldn't play golf. But they lived up on a big hill, and then it went down, and there was another road and then more houses. And I would go over to his house, and we all had these slate shingles. Everybody had them. They weren't like these asbestos shingles like now. They were slate. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, they were.
And he would sit up there with golf balls and pow, and it would go way down and go bing and break up all those shingles and stuff. You know, I mean, we did some goofy shit, man. You know, I had some pretty bad role models, I guess, growing up.
Sounds about like.
One of the things I did make when I was a kid, I made potato guns, but potato guns were popular, but I didn't use potatoes because had a friend of mine, his dad had 5-gallon buckets of golf balls because he'd clean out the ponds and stuff at golf courses.
Yeah.
And he brought it over there. My dad had a bunch of pipe that those golf balls would fit in it. So I made a potato gun that would, when it was for launching golf balls. He was a truck driver, my dad, so he had like cases of starting fluid that he got at work. So I'd spray a little bit of that ether in there and boom!
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I lived next to a golf course, and we had a pond that we would, because we're always looking for a way to make money, either a paper route or something. And we would go swimming in that pond and go get the golf balls out and sell them, you know.
I might have shot 50 of them. My dad caught me with it. He took that and broke it up, told me don't do that. He goes, you kill one of the other kids if you hit them with that.
You could. You could.
Yeah, you could have.
But hell, we'd shoot them and just watch how far they go. And hell, they'd stay in the air and they would be out of sight before we'd see them drop.
Like a Estes rocket.
Yeah.
Now, there's something I had when I was a kid.
Me too.
I had the big old E-motor, too.
I had the Big Bertha. I don't know how many Big Berthas I lost in the trees, but yeah, we used to do it. Man, those Estes rockets were fun, man.
I've had some friends that got into that, and then they come out with those water rockets that you put on that pump and pump it up and then pop it and let it loose. I had more fun.
I had those too. I had those too. If you hit your brother in the head with one of them, it's going to be bad.
Yeah. We got to be dangerous with them. Usually
that's what brothers do.
It lasted going up in the air for about an hour. Next thing, all the kids had them, and we were shooting them at each other.
Yeah, I know. That's how it always went. Anything like a Roman candle or anything like that, shoot them up in the air, and then you start shooting at each other after a while. We had the yard darts. We had all that shit. We're always trying to kill each other, man.
Be out there and be outside and turn the backyard light off and bring a yard dart out there and have about 6 or 8 kids, and somebody will throw it straight up in the air, and everybody play chicken. Who runs the last one to run wins. I'm like, yeah.
I knew a guy, well, 2 guys. It was 2 brothers, and one kid on Christmas Day got a bow and arrow, and he shot his brother right here, and it went through his coat because it was Christmas. It was cold outside. It went through his coat and went into his rib cage. They had to drag him to the hospital.
Damn.
Damn.
They got it out and everything. He was fine and everything, but this is shit we did in the 60s, man. Oh, man. Those were the days. Kids don't play like that anymore. Probably a good thing, but still.
We throw fucking firecrackers at each other. We took them big ass shells that they shoot out of the cannons, the canisters.
Talking about the artillery fireworks.
We'd light them and throw them at each other like they were grenades.
Mortars.
Yep.
Those are called mortars.
Yeah, we throw the mortars at each other and fucking throw them like they were grenades.
Bad thing about that, that's a tattletale. Bigger than shit when you see the yard light up.
We didn't stay in one area long. We went around the whole neighborhood chasing one another, throwing down other fireworks. People are watching fucking lights go off all through the neighborhood. They're like, what the hell?
You're lucky you didn't get it up under somebody's car or something.
Hey, that same guy I was telling you about that was hitting the golf balls up onto people's roofs and breaking their shingles up. He decided to come up with this freaking the Masters Open tournament between him and like two other guys, and they just started playing golf around the neighborhood, you know, in everybody's yard and stuff. And this one guy, and I was just watching. This one guy comes out pissed off as hell, rightfully so, out of his house and goes, "What the hell are you doing, kid?" He goes, "Watch this putt." And he freaking hits the ball again. He went, "Shh, watch this putt," to the owner of the house. Yeah. We did all kinds of goofy shit back then, man. It was fucking nuts. I miss those days, man. We had the milkman. We had the milkman that would come around. The milkman that would deliver milk.
Yeah, I remember the glass bottle milk and all that.
Yep. We were sleeping in a tree fort one night, and it was 11 of, I never forget, it was 11 of us sleeping in a tree fort. And back then, man, you get hungry, man. You know, you didn't have money for McDonald's, or there wasn't even a McDonald's around. And you get hungry in the middle of the night, you're staying up all night, and we knew this one house where the milkman was going to come, and you could leave. We knew this, that you could leave the milkman a note saying, "Hey, can you leave me an extra quart of, you know, skim milk or whatever?" We left this note, and we're all hiding in the bushes. We left this note that said, "Dear milkman," I never forget. It said, "Dear milkman, please leave 11 quarts of chocolate milk." We wanted 11 because it was 11 of us, right? So we're hiding in the bushes, and the milkman comes up. We're finally waiting for him. You know, we're starving, man. We're starving. And he comes up and he looks at the note and he went, and I hate to say this word. I'm not going to say this word, but he said, "GD," you know, really loud. And he went back to his truck and he kept coming back and forth and everything, you know, trying to get 11 quarts or whatever. Of course, he doesn't have 11 extra quarts of chocolate milk on his truck. You know, we didn't know. But he left 11 quarts of whatever. And he leaves, and we go up and steal it. And being I was the youngest, I got like a quart of skim milk, which I didn't care because I'm starving. You know, we're starving right at this point. You know, but it worked. You know, and I can only imagine the family. You know, get this bill later that, you know, you wanted 11 extra quarts of chocolate milk.
Yeah, they'd be like, "Who in the fuck? What the fuck? I didn't even see chocolate milk here."
I know. I never ordered even one chocolate milk.
You remember when they first come out with those, like the Schwann trucks? They look like that, but they were the milkmen, but they also started bringing ice cream and other stuff.
Yeah.
And that guy would show up delivering. If he caught kids out, he'd pass out either fudgesicles or ice cream bars or whatever to us.
I don't remember that.
And then he'd be like, "Tell your mom the milkman's coming through and we got all this other stuff." And then all of us kids would run home screaming, "The guy's giving away milk. We got to get him, giving away ice cream, giving away this. We got to get him to come here. I want free ice cream." It wasn't nothing free other than what he gave us. But
right. I remember the Schwann trucks, but they never gave us anything free. And I remember the Charlie Chips trucks.
Yeah.
They would come out with a big cans of potato chips.
Yep.
Yeah, my neighbors got that, but my parents were too cheap. They didn't get that shit, man. I was like always jealous.
Yeah, we lived up in Ohio, and I don't know if they had it in Chicago and other places, but they had a store there called Lawson's, and it was like almost like Circle K, but it was a deli. They had a little bit of canned goods, they'd have hamburger meat and stuff, but it was mostly deli stuff, deli meats, deli cheeses, kosher stuff. But they always had the awesome. So that's where mom and dad got their milk. They got their chip dip there, sour cream, stuff like that. Because I don't know if it was part of the Amish stuff or what it was, but they said the grocery stores, all the milk and all that wasn't near as good and fresh as there.
Wow.
Kosher means no preservatives, right?
Yeah, it follows.
I miss those days, and you know what else I miss about that was when I was little. There was lightning bugs so thick everywhere, and we were in a neighborhood, and I live about 8 miles away from there now, but I'm more out in the country, and every now and then I'll see a lightning bug. I'm like, wow, lightning bug. They used to be thick, man. I mean, like everywhere when I was a kid.
They've declined over the years because I used to catch them a lot when I was a kid in a mason jar.
Exactly. We did the same thing. We'd put them in a mason jar, and the whole jar would light up, and we did. It was very cruel, but I didn't understand it. When I'm 5 years old, I think a lot
of you ever have the bug sprayers come through your neighborhood that they fogged it like for mosquitoes or whatever? You remember those? They had them a lot down here, and I think that could be part of what got rid of them. It's a little slow truck could ride through. It was like a pickup that had this big box on the back. And it sounded like somebody running either an air compressor or a generator or whatever, and he'd have this little cannon-looking thing coming out. It might have been 4 inches, 5 inches big around, and there was a pipe, and it pointed out towards the side of the road. And they'd go down one side, and it's just a fog coming out of it. And then he'd turn around and come back and hit the other side of the road. And next thing you know, you see a fog haze all over the yards. And I think that kind of shit killed them off.
I don't know. I hate it, though. I should be, where I live right now, I should be full of lightning bugs. And every now and then I'll see one, and it catches my eye. I'll go, what? Lightning bug, But they used to be, when I was a kid, they were thick, man. They were everywhere.
You see one blink, and then you see 50 of them everywhere. And now you might see one like you're talking about this.
Yep. I don't see hardly any of them anymore. That makes me sad. Really.
It's like, hey, ladies, I'm over here. And next thing, okay, a bunch more start blinking, and competition to come. Next thing you'd see them, a bunch of them everywhere.
Yeah, I see they're rare around here. But I do see them every now and then. But it'll be like a single one, and then it's like, dang. 'Cause I remember when I was a kid, they were like everywhere.
Yep.
I thought they were cool.
Hell, sometimes you still see them out there this time of night, but usually right at dark you started seeing them.
Yep. Yep. I only get a few around here now.
I think the last time I seen any was like 2 years ago. And it wasn't very many. It was like a handful.
I know, man. What happened? A neighborhood I moved into back in the 60s was, and I don't want to sound like a broken record as we've talked about, a broken 78, but they were thick. They were everywhere during the summer. You couldn't walk out without running into them and stuff, and now they're just not around anymore. I hate that. Ragnar Adventure said he's only 31. He misses doing shit like that. Yeah. Man, growing up in the 70s and late 60s, 70s, I don't think there's any comparison to it. And we didn't know it at the time. We didn't know it. Riding your bicycle and sleeping in tree forts and, fishing in the creek and all the things that we did. it just seemed normal at the time, and we never thought that would go away, but it has.
Yeah, he's talking about forts and all that stuff. Made me think back. I built one. Hell, I was probably before I left Ohio, probably 10 or 11 years old, maybe. I found a bunch of. They were building a house and they had a big scrap pile, and they're like 4x4s, 2x4s, half sheets of plywood, quarter sheets, like. And I ended up building this fort out there. They had a pile driver like thing that I was using. What it was a piece of pipe that had a handle on one side and it fit over the 4x4. So I took a hatchet and I make them sort of pointed and I marked out an area and I drove them in the ground and then put wood around it, found a couple of hinges, ended up one side of it had a 4-foot square door, and I plywooded it all in and then a bunch of vinyl siding scraps. I ended up making a peak roof that was wood with vinyl siding on it, so it was watertight. Got some bricks, and he had a piece of stovepipe with an elbow that I made like this makeshift fireplace in it, and it was like this thing was 8 foot square and it was 4 foot high inside, except at the peak you could walk around in it. But I had that little fireplace in the middle of winter, and it was like 30 below zero out there in my little fort that I had built in the woods, and it 60, 70 degrees in there with that little bitty stovepipe fireplace. I had to keep that whole thing toasty.
That's very cool. We never had a fireplace, but we used to build forts all the time. And like they'd be building a house in our neighborhood and they'd leave the lumber around like you were talking about.
Yeah.
And we go out late at night. We called ourselves the Midnight Lumber Company. We even had a guy that had a big garden that we would go in the middle of the night and go steal like corn and stuff, from. We would start singing the Allman Brothers Midnight Garden. I can't run, but I keep hiding. The Midnight Gardener. We had the Midnight Lumber Company and the Midnight Gardener.
I'd go pillaging them construction sites, and I'd find like where they change nails in like a nail gun or nails that they dropped, and I'd pick them. I'd be like, cool, I got 30 nails today. I can do 30 nails worth of boards. And
there you go. Yeah.
Sad thing is, I didn't know the difference. You ain't supposed to put nails in hinges, but the hinges get loose on the door, and I'd hammer them back in every now and then.
No, who cares, man? You're 13 years old, man, and nobody cares.
Next thing you know, I had 3 or 4 people hanging out. Like we had a couple girls, and everybody in the neighborhood couldn't find nobody. And Mom, where are you at? So and so come by looking for you. The ones that we wanted in, we'd let out. Would tell was back there, but we didn't want to have 30 people in that little thing. So.
Yeah, the tree fort. We had normally it was 11 of us in the tree fort at one time, and all our parents. Back then, man, this was like 1973, 72. Our parents was like, I grabbed my sleeping bag and I'm going to camp out some. Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. It didn't matter.
Yeah, you come running in, Mom's somewhere with her friends. You done fell, skin you up. You're bleeding out of your palms of your hands and your knees. And Dad's like, go spray it off with a hose and roll around in the grass. You'll be all right.
Right. Rub some dirt on it. You'll be fine.
Yep.
Here's some Windex. You know what, man? I feel so fortunate I lived through those times. So I do. Always having bicycle accidents, and you get up and brush it off, and, you're always bleeding in there.
Yeah, I cut my knee wide open right up under my kneecap, ramping with a 3-speed that had them 10-speed pedals on it that were jagged sharp.
Yes.
And my cousin come right out there with a roll of toilet paper and wadded it up and held it over my knee till it stopped bleeding. Mom got home and she had to take a damn toothbrush and scrub it out with alcohol because she had it all packed with toilet paper inside where it cut me open. Yeah.
That's a rock. That's a piece of gravel right there, man. Yep. You see
I think
that?
I a couple. Yeah.
That's a piece of fucking gravel.
They ain't never said nothing about trying to get it out or nothing, or it never bothered
No,
you.
it just. I don't even know if I want to go into that story or not. It's still all scarred up and everything. All right. Here's a funny story. I'll tell you real quick. I was grounded, and I can't remember why I was grounded, but I did something stupid, and my parents said you can't leave the yard. Okay. And my bicycle was a JCPenney swinger. It was a swinger. It was not that great of a bicycle. And
I remember those. The swinger was the copycat of the Schwinn.
Right. But my neighbor had the guy that lived right next to me, who was really passive, had a Schwinn Stingray. It didn't have the gears or anything, but it was the regular Schwinn. I mean, all the welds looked perfect and everything, in the frame and everything. It was a blue one, and he left it out front of his house. And I'm not a thief or anything, but I guess that day I was. So this friend of mine comes down to my house on his bicycle, and he's telling me there's a bunch of kids up in this other neighborhood they got a ramp and they're riding around. And there was this one girl. This is the funny part. There was this one girl. There's one girl I really had a crush on, man. And he said, she's there. I'm not going to say her name. I'll just say her first name. Her name was Kay. And she was there. And I was like, screw it. I went over and jumped on that other bicycle, that Schwinn Stingray. And we go rolling over there, right? We go rolling over to this other neighborhood. And it's a big, long hill going down. And it was a ramp. And there was a bunch of kids hanging around. And she was there. And most kids were just going around in a circle going over this ramp. Well, I had just seen the movie Evel Knievel in the movie in 1972. I just seen that. And I'm like, I'm going to be Evel Knievel. And I said, all right, everybody stand back. I swear to God, that's what I said. Everybody stand back. And I went up to the top of the hill. And I got going as fast. And I'm grounded on a stolen bicycle. And I'm going as fast as I can. And I hit that freaking ramp. And the bicycle starts, once I got airborne, the bicycle starts going away from me like this. And I'm going, oh, shit. I should have grabbed it back up or something, or grabbed it with my ankles but I didn't. And it just started going away. And I landed on this hand. That's where that piece of gravel is. I hurt everything on my body except for this hand. Everything. My face, my stomach. I had a hole this big in my t-shirt where my stomach rugged the ground. And then the bicycle ran over top of me. And the bicycle was totaled, man. It was totaled. They measured it and I flew 35 feet. That's a long ways, man. That's a long, even though I didn't land it, and there was all this gravel and stuff down there. And it was almost like smoke was coming up after I landed, and everybody was watching and everything. And I was 12 years old and I wanted to cry because it hurt. You're going between that period of being a kid where you cry and where you don't, and and I looked over at that girl and she was sitting there going, oh my God. And I was like, all right, I can't cry.
You got to be cool.
I know you got to be cool. And this Indian guy that I went to school with from India, he drugged me in his house, and his Indian mother patched me all up and everything. And they called my parents, and my brother came over and picked me up. And we had to take the bicycle back that was totaled. It was totaled. I mean, it was totaled. It was you need to get a new bicycle. And And I was in even more trouble. Big trouble. My mother, I could not believe she actually let me stay out of school the next day, which she would never do. But I was so freaking,
You're
like
fucked up. Road rash.
car accident, right? I heard everything but this hand. My left hand was the only thing that did not get any injuries. And here's the funny part is, so I was so in love with this girl, and she didn't want anything to do with me. We grow up later and get through high school, and I find out she's a lesbian. So it was all for naught. It was all for nothing anyway.
Did you ever talk to her after that? Did you tell her?
I talked to her a few times, but once she got on like the girls' soccer team, I was like going, I don't know, but
that stuff wasn't that popular to us back then either, though. So when people didn't talk about it, it's not like it was running up and down the road in parades and shit.
Oh no, it was no. But she started getting kind of butch. And then she was, and I didn't have a chance with her any damn way. But that's kind of funny when you look back. You got a crush on a chick and you find out, you never would have had a chance anyway, you dumbass. Why are you going to be Evel Knievel over here?
Didn't have the right body makeup.
Yeah, I'd have told her if it had been me. It'd be like, that time when I wrecked that bike, I only went down there and stole that bike and did that to impress you.
That was it. I've never told her that. But that was exactly it. That was exactly why I did that. And it's just funny looking back on it. I never would have had a chance any damn way.
You didn't have the right plumbing, huh?
I don't know, man. Who knows?
They say a lot of that happens to people when they get abused somehow. So.
Mitch Jenner says, "I love this guy's stories, and all these stories are absolutely true. I don't embellish on anything. They're too good. They're too good to embellish on."
That's what I tell them. It's like, it ain't worth lying about. It's like, I don't give a shit if somebody believes me, and I don't give a shit if they like it or not.
I am the worst. I am the worst liar in the world. If I'm lying, you'll know I'm lying, and I don't. So I just don't lie about shit, because I'll screw up or something. Now I've known great liars. I've known some great liars. I've been married to a great liar, but I just don't. I can't. You can't. If you're a liar, it's hard to keep up with your lie. Where the truth, you can always go back to the truth and you can speak the truth. Where just making up a lie is goofy, and then you got to
say when you lie, you got to lie 10 more times to cover that lie.
Then you got to lie 10 more times, and you have to remember it all, which I'm not good at, So no. I'll just tell you the way it went down.
I've been married 37 years, and I've tried to not tell the truth to my wife, not even lie about it, just try to not tell her what's going on. And I get stumped for words I can't answer right. It's just not in me to bullshit.
And then you get nailed, and then you feel guilty, and then Mitch Jenner just said it's easier to tell the truth. It's easier to tell the truth. And what I just told you, that whole story was completely the freaking truth, man. I ended up being the bozo in the whole freaking thing, It wasn't like I'm trying to embellish myself, I ended up looking like the dumbass, and
I told my boys all the time growing up, even my youngest now, is like, just go ahead and tell the truth. Be true about it. You do something, take your fucking lumps, be proud of it, good or bad. Just you did it. stand behind it. Take your licks if you fucked up.
And let's move on.
Yep.
Yeah. Don't lie about shit, man. I hate that. I know people that lie just to lie.
We lost
somebody.
We lost Blaine.
I know some people that lie. I mean, it's one thing if you lie because you maybe have a good reason to lie about it. But I know some people that just make up shit and lie about just whatever. And I can't.
Yeah, you ever had one of them tell a story and you were there and they're lying their ass off about it, telling you and somebody else? It's like, motherfucker, I was there and that ain't what happened.
Yes. And I can't stand that shit.
You didn't believe me. You didn't believe I beat the fuck out of other people with another motherfucker until the coach told you.
Yeah. Wyatt slinging somebody into somebody. He's talking about he beat a fucker with a fucker, picked his kid up and threw him into another kid.
I still remember that fucking coach. I just let it happen.
I could probably be a great liar if I wasn't such a crummy liar.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, I could come up with all sorts of stories and whatnot. But if I lie, then I have to remember the lie. And I'm not good at that. So I would rather just call it like it is, like it was or whatever. So if I tell you a funny story about streaking through the movie theater or wrecking my bicycle over a lesbian, I mean, all that shit's true, man. It's funny looking back on it. Or the milkman, or dear milkman. All that shit's true.
All right, hell shit. We've been on how long now?
Oh, I don't know.
Almost 2.5 hours. I'm gonna go ahead and kill it. Hell, I was up pretty late. Blaine said something. Hold on. Got a split. Thanks for having me. He's out.
Okay, yeah. Blaine is a cool guy. I like him.
Yeah, it is late. What is it here? 1:30. I don't know. What is it there with you? Or 1:15, 17?
Mitch Denner said, I guess he's talking about a liar. We have a guy like that in our local. He was a welder on Calypso. Hey, Calypso, Jacques Cousteau. He might have been, you never know, man. He might have been on the Calypso. The Calypso was moored here in Norfolk. That was the Calypso's home base, was here in Norfolk. You never know, man. Somebody might be lying, somebody might not, I've got a friend that swears up and down that he played bass with Ozzy for the first story I heard, he played bass with Ozzy for 7 nights. Then the next one I heard, it was 3 nights. Then the next one I heard, he did 1 set. So the lie kept changing. And I'm like, I don't give a shit about Ozzy anyway. Who are you trying to impress, man?
Just because you did it, even if you did do it, if he didn't keep you, that means you weren't that accomplished. So
he didn't do it, and I'll tell you why. And he's a friend of mine, and I have some friends that are liars, and this guy's a big liar. But he came and stayed with me for 3 days one time, and I grabbed a bass guitar off my wall and gave it to him, and he didn't know what one end from the other one was. He didn't know how to anything.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, and I'm like, yeah, okay. You say you're a bass player, here's a bass. He didn't know anything, from up or down or nothing. So don't give me that shit, man.
Good night, Ben. Yeah, all right, well, I guess we'll wrap it up. Thank y'all for coming up. Y'all have a blessed night. We'll see you on the next ride.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. Appreciate
Yeah,
it. Man.
anytime, bud.
I very enjoyed the conversation.
I gave you my phone number, didn't I?
I don't know. I think so.
I'll throw it in private if you want it.
Okay.
Holler anytime you feel like you.
All right, man. That sounds good. $2.20 on the East Coast. It is $2.20 on the East Coast because I'm on the East Coast.
Yeah, it's late. I didn't realize it was that. I did come up late too, so.
I like reminiscing about all these old stories and stuff, though, man. I do.
Yeah, me too. Some of the stuff we learned a lot from too.
The hard way.
A lot more than walking around staring at a phone till we walk into something.
My God, I know. Every stoplight I pull up to, I look at the person next to me and they're on their phone. Every single one. All right, hold on. There's something in chat.
Yeah,
All right, cool. I'm gonna put your phone number. If I can find my phone. I got I'm looking at my phone. All right, I'll get it in there.
I gotta find my phone. Wait, I'm on it.
I know. Wait, I'm on it. I know. What a dipshit. I'm actually gonna write it down.
That way you got it.
Yeah, I'm gonna write it down.
I had a sheet over here that I wrote a bunch of them on, and most of them I got. Some of them I don't know what happened to that sheet, so probably fell behind the table.
Okay. Yeah, I gotta do it the old-fashioned way. All right, I got it.
All right, man. Good night. Good night, y'all. Y'all have a good night. Much love. Stay safe. We'll see you on the next one. Yeah, holler at me when you do one. I guess text me or whatever. Let me know, and I'll show up. And once you do that, I'll let you know when I'm up.
Well, if I do it live?
Yeah.
I did one earlier today, and it all went well until towards the end. I started getting some trolls in there, and
I didn't see your alert. Didn't pop up till when I clicked on it. You just dropped it.
Okay.
It was
it was no big deal. It was okay, but I've got some people out there that really hate me, and they just come in with these fake accounts and start, doing dumb shit.
I'm getting the same thing going. I don't know. I didn't do anything, and we lost a bunch of people hanging out. So.
Yeah, I don't know what those people are thinking. I don't know. Okay. All right. Well, you take it easy. We're all going to go to bed. And it was great hanging out. And I will talk to you soon.
Later, bro. Good night, y'all.
All right. Good night.